Here are 4 things you want to look for on a food label if you have kidney disease. I'm Michelle Crosmer, and this is Plant-Based Kidneys Kitchen. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and like and share with your family and friends. So 4 things that you want to be looking for on a food label. Number 1, of course, is sodium. So you want to look at the milligrams sodium. In order for something to be labeled as low sodium, it has to be 140 milligrams or less per serving. So this is a good rule of thumb for single-use things like tortillas, bread, condiments, sauces. Look for that milligrams of sodium per serving, and ideally 140 milligrams or less. Now, if it's something where you're having multiple servings of this product, so let's say bread, then if you can find a little bit lower sodium, 100 milligrams or less per serving, then that's better since you're going to be using multiple servings. So let's say you're making a sandwich. If you can find a bread that's less than 100 milligrams of sodium versus less than 140 milligrams of sodium, it doesn't add up as quickly for the meal. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this is if you are making a homemade meal that is whole food, lots of fruits and veggies, and it doesn't naturally have a lot of salt in it, and let's say you're making a big salad, if your salad dressing is a little bit higher than that 140 milligrams of sodium, let's say it's 200 milligrams or 230 milligrams, but that's the only salt you're adding to your meal, then that is not going to be a big deal because that whole meal is still going to be low in sodium. So now let's get to a whole meal and what to look for. So let's say you're looking at some canned soup or some sort of pre-made salad, pre-made sandwich wrap, anything like that that you're grabbing at the store or at a restaurant. You ideally want to have something, the entire meal, be less than 500 milligrams of sodium. So to compare 2 products, this is a canned soup, a Progresso canned soup. And per serving for 1 cup, it's 530 milligrams of sodium. So we're already over that threshold. But if you eat the whole can, which is 2 cups, which most people would probably need that portion, that's 1,120 milligrams of sodium. So it's very, very high in sodium. Now, for comparison, this is another box soup that's lower in sodium. So 1 cup is 230 milligrams of sodium, but if you eat the whole box, which is 2-cup portion, it's 470 milligrams of sodium. So when you originally look at the label and see, oh, 470 milligrams of sodium, that's 20% of the daily value, it might seem high, but you're likely eating this for your entire meal, and on a per meal basis, then that is going to still be considered low in sodium. So second thing that you want to look for on the food label is actually in the ingredient list of the food label, and that's for phosphorus and potassium additives. So phosphorus additives, again, not on the nutrition facts part, but the ingredient list. You're scanning that ingredient list and looking for anything with PHOS or PHOS in it. Some common ones are phosphoric acid, sodium phosphate, disodium phosphate. I've seen potassium phosphate. Anything PHOS, that is a phosphorus additive. Our body absorbs about 90 to 100% of that phosphorus, and it's best to avoid. It can be found in any sort of processed or packaged food. It's used as a flavor enhancer, as a preservative. And so you really need to check the ingredient list of every label that you are buying. And then along with the phosphorus additive, look for potassium additives. Those are also more readily absorbed in the gut, and usually some low sodium products sometimes use potassium salts like potassium chloride in place of sodium chloride. So you really want to check the labels. So number 1, you're checking for sodium, milligrams of sodium. Number 2, you're checking the ingredient list for both phosphorus and potassium additives. And then number 3 and 4 kind of go together. We want to look at the added sugar as well as the total fiber that is in the product. So if you're looking at the total fiber, you want it to be at least 3 grams of fiber. Usually these are products like grains, breads, pastas, bars, anything like that that you would commonly see different varying amounts of fiber, but you want to ideally get 3 grams of fiber or more per serving. So to compare 2 products. So first of all, That's It fruit bar. If we look at the label here, we see, great, it has 0 grams of added sugar and it has 4 grams of fiber per serving. So that is a much better option than this Nutri-Green bar, which only has 1 gram of fiber and it has 12 grams of added sugar. And of course, be mindful of the portion that you're consuming for this product. So, now added sugar. So, people with kidney disease, whether you have diabetes or not, we still want to be limiting or avoiding as much as possible high amounts of added sugar. So, products like bars and breads and oats and things like that, it ideally should have 0 grams of added sugar. If you're having any sort of sweet treat, then if you can aim for only 4 to 5 grams of added sugar or less, then that is what you're looking for. That's about a 1 teaspoon portion of sugar. So now let's compare different grain products and look at the added sugar and the fiber. So if we look at this Ezekiel bread, it has 0 grams of added sugar and 3 grams of fiber per slice. It's also low in sodium at only 75 milligrams of sodium per slice and has no phosphorus additives and no potassium additives. Now let's look at these Quaker oats. So old fashioned Quaker oats has 4 grams of fiber per serving and 0 grams of added sugar. This is an oatmeal that you would want if you have kidney disease. Now let's compare that to the same Quaker Oats instant packet oatmeal. It has 3 grams of fiber, which is great to see, but it has 12 grams of added sugar. This is 3 times the amount of added sugar that you would want to have in your oatmeal. That's a whole tablespoon of added sugar. It'd be better for you to get the old fashioned Quaker oats or even the quick oats where oats are the only ingredient. And even if you add a teaspoon of honey or sugar or maple syrup, then that's only going to add 4 grams of added sugar. So you want to use these tips: 140 milligrams of sodium or less per serving, 500 milligrams of sodium or less per meal. We want to have no phosphorus additives and no potassium additives in the ingredient list. And then look for ideally 0 grams of added sugar or up to 4 to 5 grams if it's a sweet treat, and 3 or more grams of fiber per serving. So there you have it. I hope that helps. 4 things to look for on a food label if you have kidney disease. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you guys next time.